up, YouTube? What it do, man? Hope everybody doing well, taking care of themselves. I almost didn't want to do this video because I ain't really feeling it today, but show must go on. Regardless of how I feel at the moment, I am excited about this video because just need to be talked about. One reason why I'm doing this video is because the last time I spoke to my cousin, bro, she told me like she ain't really fucking with dragons like that, and I was just appalled because I love dragons, and little does she know I am a dragon. So yeah, but today we gonna talk about dragons, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of misunderstood perception with dragons. It's not always like that, you know. It's some people who also love dragons, but like I just know when it comes to mostly Negroes, you know what I'm saying? I just get the vibe like, and that's mainly because, most people in the South, or just in America in general, are Christians. So that's why. Let me explain that more later. But, dragons, bro, people tend to think that they not real, but they are very real, bro. You know what I mean? They just live in higher states and planes of existence, bro. You know what I'm saying? There once was a time on Earth where these mythical creatures existed because the vibration of the Earth was on a higher plane. But nowadays, we done descended into heavier and denser spaces. So, when it comes to beings that have such exaggerated forms that they express themselves with, you know what I'm saying? For them to exist, the space that they exist in can only match their energy, you know what I'm saying? Hence why they live in higher places of existence, planes of existence, excuse me. But dragons is just like everything else in life, you know what I'm saying? It's all about energy, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's all about energy. You know what I'm saying? That's the simplest way for you to understand it. But, you know what I'm saying? Just like if you claim to be a God or with God, you know what I'm saying? God is an energy. You know what I'm saying? God is all of creation. You know what I'm saying? So to be with God or be like a God, you have the power of the creator. You know what I'm saying? The power to create. You know what I'm saying? And destroy. But in particular with dragons, it's the same thing. It's an energy. You know what I'm saying? It's an energy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dragons existed across pretty much all cultures on the planet. They have a presence in all cultures on the planet. Every continent. Why is that? Because it's a fundamental part of, that energy I'm talking about, like to create. You know what I'm saying? So like, we're gonna talk about a bunch of things today. Probably gonna have to split this video up into two parts. But as I mentioned, dragons have a presence in every single continent in the world, in every culture. Dragons are high-ranking spiritual entities. You know what I'm saying? When you look into these mythologies about dragons, these legends about dragons, they are revered as powerful spiritual protectors. You know what I'm saying? So if you commune with dragons and the dragon energy, you know what I'm saying, it grants you spiritual protection. Dragons in general are shrouded in symbolism. Because like I said, it's a fundamental part of how you manifest things in this reality. The earth itself has a deep connection with dragons. There's an old myth and tale from the Mesopotamian, well, not Mesopotamian, but Sumerian culture that speaks about a dragon named Tiamat. You know what I'm saying? Talk about more of that later. Yeah, so like, dragons, unicorns, fairies, all these things live on a higher dimension of life. So in order for you to interact with them on Earth, you have to commune with them through iconography, artifacts. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that is imbued with the energy or the representation of these things. You know what I'm saying? So I got a bunch of notes, bro, and like I want to run through all this stuff. So like I said, dragons are probably one of the most high-ranking spiritual entities in the entire universe. They are revered and respected as the most powerful spiritual beings in the whole entire universe. You know what I'm saying? So they serve as guardians or gatekeepers of sacred knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I've had many experiences where I've interacted with a dragon, and of course not on this earth. You know what I'm saying? And it happened in other states of consciousness while I was dreaming or on some psychedelics or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have many interactions with a dragon, for good reason. Like I said, it's a guardian and a gatekeeper for sacred knowledge. So communing with a dragon, seeing a dragon, is symbolic for you being in a rites of passage to discover your hidden potential, your true potential. You know what I'm saying? This is what guardians guard. I mean, this is what dragons guard as guardians. They represent the Kundalini. You know what I'm saying? Because the way the dragon is, the way it's shaped, especially in Chinese culture, is very serpentine in nature. So for one thing, it is symbolic and represents the spine. And if you know anything about Kundalini, this is the energy that runs throughout your spine, all the way from your root, and goes all the way up to your brain, all the way up to the pineal gland. You know what I'm saying? This shows sacred essence. You know what I'm saying? And when your chakras are aligned, you know what I mean? That fluid through many moon cycles runs up your spine and into the pineal gland. So, as I mentioned, dragons are a fundamental aspect for creation. It's an energy for you to create with, to discover your power as a creator. You know what I'm saying? This is what the dragons are gatekeepers for. You know what I'm saying? So that fluid that runs up your spine and hits your pineal gland is the fluid that, you know, helps you project your reality, because that's what the pineal gland serves as. You know what I mean? It's a projector for your reality. You know what I'm saying? So the more energy you have in abundance, in order for you to project into this reality, you know what I mean, the more miraculous things you can do with your life, the more expanded potential your life has to be what you dream of it being. You know what I'm saying? So, like, another thing that dragons represent is spiritual mastery. You know what I'm saying? So as you start to master yourself and master being a god in the flesh, you know, a creator in this life, you know what I'm saying? As you begin to master those things, you know, you might start seeing symbology of a dragon. You might see imagery of a dragon entering your life. You might see a dragon in your dreams. Like, it's all symbolic for you mastering who you are as a person. You know what I'm saying? Your hidden potential. You know what I'm saying? This is what it's all revolving around. So it all revolves around energy, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Anything, any deity, any mythical creature, anything, any animal in real life, you know what I'm saying? All these things have aspects and things attached to them that represent certain types of parts of life, parts of yourself. These are extensions and archetypes of the human psyche. You know what I'm saying? So just like everything else, dragons have these see that white beam? That's kind of cool. But dragons represent and have certain things attached to them as being, you know, guardians, gatekeepers, as I mentioned before. In nature, in mythology, dragons are closely tied to nature, to elements. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when people try to commune with dragons, they do it in order to build a relationship with certain elements. So just like how there's different gods that govern certain parts of life, there are dragons that also govern certain aspects of life. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of see how it's kind of it starts to become like a pantheon that's attached to these things. I see a hawk in the sky. Some quick little reference of like symbology that's represented by dragons is the Ouroboros. You know what I'm saying? The snake eating itself. You know, that's just representatory of cycles. You know what I'm saying? And how energy always cycles back into itself and life. You know what I'm saying? The infinity symbol. You know what I'm saying? And if we talking about that, we automatically gonna go to the Taurus field, the toroidal fields. You know what I'm saying? The shape that anything that's alive creates. So it can sustain itself. You know what I'm saying? This is the system that's created for things to sustain itself. So if we gonna talk about dragons, of course we gotta talk about Chinese culture. You know what I'm saying? So like dragons are usually closely tied to royalty. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, from my personal experience, I mess with dragons. I always loved dragons ever since I was a little child. And every single time I had moments in my life where I was like evolving or going through some spiritual growth, you know what I'm saying? A dragon just show up. You know what I'm saying? Pivotal points in my life. Some of the most powerful psychedelic trips I done had were with dragons. You know what I'm saying? Some of the most best trips I ever had in my life that I would never forget, which we could talk about and I can explain in another time. You know what I mean? We'll save that for a story time, but like every single time they would show up in the trip, you know, I would wonder like what is the purpose of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then, as I did my research, it just, opened my mind, you know what I mean? And, the more trips I had, the more it started to show up and the more I started to build a relationship with these things. And like, these interactive experiences are just like me, taking moments outside of this world to master myself in seclusion. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just the experience that I had personally for that process to take place. You know what I mean? So back to the topic. In Chinese culture, like I said, dragons are usually tied to power and nobility and royalty. So the only individuals who were able to bear any symbols or emblems of a dragon was the emperor. You know what I'm saying? Representing his divine connection to, to everything. You know what I'm saying? So Chinese dragons, everybody know what these dragons look like. They the long, like serpentine like dragons that fly in the air like a snake. You know what I'm saying? Chinese dragons are intrinsically connected to the sky and rain. You know what I'm saying? Water. You know what I'm saying? Which also ties into energy. You know what I'm saying? And the shape of a dragon and the way it moves is very serpentine, very much like water. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? In previous videos, you know what I mean, y'all can just look at the playlist. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna plug it in the video. Water, it has a universal presence. You know what I'm saying? In every dimension of life, there is some form of water that is the medium for these things to exist. You know what I'm saying? So this also goes back to why dragons guard sacred knowledge, because once you start understanding the fundamental symbology and role of a dragon, you start to understand. Ooh, I see a dragonfly. I'm so glad. I see a dragonfly. But once you start to understand, you start to get universal knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You start to get universal awareness about these mechanics of life. You know what I'm saying? So Chinese dragons, like I said, they connected to the sky, and they usually I think they said in Chinese culture they usually uh do communion with the dragon to bring forth the rain, you know what I'm saying, for farmers and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Um if you go to China, I'm pretty sure you'll go to like some palace or temple where there's probably a dragon guarding the entrance, you know what I'm saying? Like like I said, dragons serves as spiritual protectors in the spiritual realm. These are facts. You know what I'm saying? So if you any adept person who travels in the esoteric realm, then um if you come into a space of an individual who is protected by dragons, um you would know by noticing that there's fog around you. You know what I'm saying? It's very foggy. You know what I'm saying? And dragons, bro, they just bring a certain different type of energy. You know what I'm saying? I know me in particular, when people are around me, they are just instantly intimidated by me. Um, and that's how you know you got the energy of a dragon. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different type of energy. Um, Very misunderstood. Obviously, that's why I'm making this video, cause you know my cousin, she needs this information, bro. You know what I mean? She has um some religious stigma like still in the back of her subconscious. So like she inspired this video. I'm pretty sure she's gonna watch this. So shout out to you. Um I forgot to explain, but like, as far as dragon goes, um in comparison to the eastern part of the world and the western part, the further west you start to move, the more distorted um the meaning of dragons become. You know what I'm saying? And Eastern culture is more tied to benevolence, spiritual protectors, general good things. But the further west you move, the more it starts to get tied to the devil, evil, and greed and stuff like that. Like I said, in Eastern culture, that's also another thing. It's tied to prosperity. You know what I'm saying? Wealth. You know what I'm saying? Hinting towards royalty. You know what I'm saying? So, another Eastern culture that I want to mention, in particular, is the culture in Thailand. Thailand is very reminiscent of Indian culture. They kind of have the same culture because of Hinduism and Buddhism. So, dragons are, tied in the mix of that. So, yeah, dragons have a prominent presence in Taiwanese culture. I don't think it's called Taiwanese. I think it's just Thai, but I'm not sure. So I don't know. But me personally, the Thai culture, I'm definitely going to Thailand one day. So I love Thailand. You know what I mean? I want to go to Thailand. But they representations of a dragon is very different. And they also have a different name. They are called Nagas. You know what I'm saying? A Naga is similar to the Chinese versions of a dragon. It's a serpentine like creature. You know what I'm saying? And of course I'm gonna put pictures and all that so y'all can see a visual of what I'm talking about. So in Thai culture, or Hinduism and Buddhism, you got the Nagas. And the Nagas are also closely tied to, that Kundalini energy type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um, in the Thai culture, Nagas are guardians of, bodies of water, rivers, lakes. Um, Sometimes they guard temples and caves. Um, there's a there's a particular stone that I want to mention called Likalea, and this this stone is, if it's like the way they get this stone is very unique, bro, because it's a whole ceremony. It's a whole process, a whole ceremony for them to get the stone. And like, you won't get it any other way. You know what I'm saying? So they get these stones from caves, and this stone is called Likalea. Stands for steel eel, because when they do the ceremony and they get the stones, they do chants and mantras, and they fill the cave up with candles so it can heat the whole cave up. And they do these little chants, and then the Likalea literally comes like out of the walls of the cave. Like, it comes out like a snake, and it's like snake charming the way they get this stone, bro. Like, it's the craziest shit I ever seen in my life. But like, when I seen it, I was just like, oh yeah, this is the real deal. Like, this some real stuff, like, for real. Like, I've never seen like molten rock move like intentionally interacting with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I ever seen that ever in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna put a video clip of them doing it, so y'all can really see what I'm talking about. Likalea. But they use this Likalea because it's imbued with the power of a Naga. You know what I'm saying? It's like it has the spirit of these dragons in them. You know what I'm saying? So when you carry it, it serves as spiritual protection. So like, people will carry it so they won't get shot. You know what I'm saying? It protects you from getting shot and stuff like that. And what else? Grants you prosperity and blessings. You know what I'm saying? It pretty much grants you all that stuff that I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? And it also helps you build a relationship with these things. So Likalea, Likalea, Lekalai, Likalea. Yeah, like, with the Likalea, they make a lot of amulets and charms. You know what I mean? A whole bunch of like spiritual like tools. You know what I'm saying? This is what they make these things out of. They make them out of knives. You know what I'm saying? They come in all colors, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can even get some that's like iridescent, like a rainbow. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when I found out about it, bro, like, my mind was blown, because like, you just don't hear about it at all. Like, you don't hear about it at all. You know what I'm saying? Unless you the type of person who just like dragons. Like, I'm pretty sure, just like how someone may feel called to take ayahuasca or mushrooms or something like that, it's the same way dragons commune with you and you interact and build a relationship with them. It's the same stuff. What's called to you will show itself. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what else was it. Let's see what it. Yeah, Nagas are tied to fertility, rain, and spiritual protection. They are literal water deities, you know what I'm saying? They are tied to water, you know what I'm saying? Guard rivers, lakes, and the underworld, you know what I'm saying? So basically the ocean. Oh, okay. So like, you know, Nagas, just like dragons in China, you would most likely see them at the entrance of a cave, temple, any sacred spiritual site, you know what I'm saying? That has to do with Buddhism, because they serve as protectors for Dharma. You know what I mean? And Dharma is pretty much um the Buddhist like moral system. You know what I'm saying? So it protects the righteous. You know what I'm saying? It protects people who have a high sense of morality. You know what I mean? Who are on the path of Dharma. They are often used in iconography, architecture, jewelry, and statues. You know what I'm saying? So, as well as tattoos. You know what I mean? Yeah, if you ever seen somebody from Thailand, bro, you know what I mean? They, that's in their culture to get tatted up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Um, may look very intimidating to some people, but it's in their culture. Sometimes it looks pretty cool, pretty unique. I think it's cool. Okay, now we can move on to like the Western perspective of dragons. You know what I'm saying?